Jackie Siegel, thank you so much for being willing to be on the podcast today and telling your daughter's story that we know will give other people hope. So thank you for doing that.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I mean, I'm so honored, especially you've got the largest podcast for addiction in America. I lost my daughter around 7 years ago, a little over 7 years ago now. The pain never goes away, and it totally changes your life. And the reason I want to go out there is the same reason you do, to spread the word and warn parents about the real reality that our kids are exposed to drugs. And I don't want other parents to go through the same pain of what I'm even going through for the rest of my life. And the problem's getting worse, you know?
It is. It is. And first of all, I am so very sorry for the loss of your daughter. I cannot imagine. We have two grown sons. I cannot imagine losing a child to this horrible pandemic. I call it a pandemic. You know, there was so much media coverage of the whole COVID-19 pandemic, but this drug and alcohol addiction pandemic is way worse and will continue to be way worse. Jackie, tell us about Victoria. What was her history with drugs? How did that come about? Tell us what happened with her.
Victoria was kind of like a social butterfly. She wanted to blend in. My husband, I don't know if anyone's seen the TV show, The Queen of Versailles or The Queen of Versailles Reigns Again on Discovery Plus, but they'll see we are in a world where he's a billionaire. He's got the largest hotel, Westgate Resorts, casino in Las Vegas. We have 30 resorts, private planes, and all this, and building the largest home in America. So there is a documentary on it, and Victoria's in the original one. So if anyone looks up the Queen of Versailles, they'll see her on there. And she was she went to public school. She chose to go to public school. She started in private, but she wanted to be just an average person living and with real people, and just kind of immersed in society, because she loved everyone.
Understood.
And didn't feel like she wanted to be privileged or anything. I mean, when she went to school in Florida here, you're from Florida, the kids are allowed to wear flip-flops. So if she could, she would go barefoot. But she'd go to school just wearing flip-flops and T-shirts and shorts and just to kind of blend in. And she would not let me, I'd have to take one of the older vehicles to pick her up from school. If I showed up in a Rolls Royce, she would see me and she'd run around the corner from the school and make me pick her up over there, because she didn't want anyone to know that she had a rich father and stuff. And so she was just that kind of girl. And
I love that. I mean, I love that about her. I love that she just wanted to be just one of the kids. And as you know, having a dad like your husband, I mean, it can be a thing where people think, oh, she's just a rich kid. And I get that. So that's to her credit.
She wanted to blend in. She wanted people to like her for her.
Right.
And so what happened is in I don't know if this has a good, I think it has a good portion to do with it. But when the Queen of Versailles documentary came out back in 2012, she the cat was out of the bag. Now they know she's a rich kid. So she started getting picked on. Kids wanted to be her friends because they felt she could afford to buy them drugs. And she really wanted to fit in. So she started doing experimenting with drugs with them because she was getting bullied, like, oh, you're a chicken, you're afraid to do it, you know. And unfortunately, these kids were a bad influence on her, and she started like with marijuana, sneaking alcohol, cigarettes, vapes, and
And
it just
how old was she, Jackie, at the time? How old was she?
middle school when she was starting to get bullied, and then by the time, so she went through high school, and by the time she was 18 is when she ended up coming to me, and she says, Mom, and now keep in mind, all of this happened behind my back.
Mm.
These teenagers, they're very tricky. They know how the teenagers in general that are doing drugs, unless like they've overdosed and they're like lying on the floor, they can hide it from their parents. I mean, they should get Academy Awards for their acting of how they camouflage this. And sometimes, yeah. So anyway, so this was all happening behind my back, and she comes to me one day, and she says, Mom, I need rehab. She realized that she had a problem, and it's like, you need rehab. Like I couldn't believe it because I never saw her doing drugs. And she was addicted to Xanax. But she would like experiment with the other things. She never did heroin or that type of drug or crack. So me and Grandma took her to rehab, and she was there. While she was in rehab, she met a man, like a 27-year-old man who was in there for heroin, and he was in there by court order. So he had no intentions of quitting heroin. His attorneys made him go there in the courts, or it was that or jail. They were going to give him one last chance before he went to jail. So she met him. They both met. They were both sober in rehab. She fell madly in love. She's an 18-year-old girl. And when they got out, the day they got out, he got her first hit of heroin. And just a month later, she was dead.
Oh my God.
So, and the thing is, I had already planned a cruise for when she got out of rehab. I was going to do a mother-daughter cruise, just me and her in a big suite down to the Bahamas or the Caribbean. I forgot where it was. I think it might be the Bahamas. And she died a day before we were able to go on that cruise together.
I'm so sorry. I'm just
like I missed her by a day. But this guy got to her, you know, and so it's just really sad. It's just so devastating. I was so close. And I mean, it is what it is. And now I've decided to donate the rest of my life to going out there and doing as much as I can, you know, to warn people. And you know what's even more scary now? Because like she would get the Adderall from school. The kid had a pill press. So she got all he would order the chemicals from China. He had a pill press. It looked exactly like what you get in the hospital. But nowadays, whatever pills, the Percocets that they're selling on the street, they make at their homes, they've all got fentanyl in it.
That's right.
Which is killing people on the first dose, just one pill.
Yep.
And that's what we need to, like, the real challenge now, you know?
I think it's both. I think, you know, the situation that Victoria was in and her tragic loss, that's still going on. But now we have a whole other aspect, and we've done interviews on this, which is being termed poisoning, which is the kid who just wants to try Xanax and gets one off of social media, and turns out it's fentanyl and they die. And they're not they're not addicted, but they try it and they die. And there's kind of two different aspects. You're absolutely right. But you, like some of the parents we've talked to, you didn't just shut down and say, I'm not going to do anything about this. Tell us what you did, you and your husband.
Yeah, so when Victoria passed away 7 years ago, people kept it hush when their child died of a drug overdose. Even movie stars, like their publicists, would keep it hush. And they would say, oh, they died of a heart attack or died of natural causes. And at these young ages, some things causing that heart attack, and it's drugs. But the people were shameful about speaking about it. And but the thing is, we once the press, I mean, we had helicopters here outside of our house when Victoria died because of her fame. They called her the Princess of Versailles, and it was on the cover of the New York Post, Good Morning America. Everyone was talking about it. It was huge news. And at that point, my husband and I mean, we had already been exposed that our child had died of a drug overdose, that we had nothing to lose but everything to gain by using that publicity and going out there and making a difference in this world. So, and teaching other people not to be shameful if it happens to them. But, also hopefully that we prevent it, more importantly. And just for an example of like what a small, how it touches so many lives, my husband and I, we did a show with Captain Lee. And Captain Lee from Below Deck, I know there's a lot of people that watch that Below Deck. He kept it hush hush. His son had died of an overdose. Now, Captain Lee's son, he was around in his early 30s. He was addicted to Percocets, and he was like a functioning addict. Okay,
right.
He would go to a doctor. He was taking care of engines. He would work, and then all of a sudden the laws got really strict here in Florida. Like there were no more pill mills.
Right.
But he was still addicted. So he decided just to start buying his Percocets off the street. And it had no intentions of doing an overdose. He was just doing the same amount that he always did. And this time that he bought the pill off the street, it was fentanyl. And Captain Lee just found him in his bedroom with his, like, holding his head like this, and his body was just like stiff.
Oh my
And
God.
so he must have, like, his head must have been like pounding, from the pain of the drug.
Yep.
And just, I mean, it's like there was just such a small world. And just a couple days ago, one of my neighbors lost their son, who used to be best friends with Victoria. Now the son just died at 25. And I think that him being great friends with Victoria, that he would stay away from the drugs. But you know what? These kids, they don't realize, like, if they're thinking they're getting just a pill or like a little ecstasy or something, they don't realize they're playing Russian roulette, because sometimes it is what the drug dealer says it is,
Yep.
and but it's more like now it's starting to be so much more percentage that it's not. I mean, I would say warn your kids that everything on the street's laced right now.
Yep. Yep. I think somebody even told us that even some of the marijuana is laced with fentanyl. And it's like, and I have said your exact same words on this podcast over and over again. It's Russian roulette. If you want to play this game, just play Russian roulette, forget about what you're doing, because you have no idea. Not only do you have no idea whether there's fentanyl in there, you don't know how these drugs are going to affect you. And of course, unfortunately, when you're a teenager or when you're in your early 20s, you are invincible. You will never die. Nothing is ever going to do that to you. Do you know?
Or, it won't happen to me.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
And talking about it being marijuana being laced, I mean, marijuana, natural marijuana, no one overdoses or dies. It's safer than alcohol.
That's right.
When you buy it off the street, okay, for example, I was going up to Rochester, upstate New York, to give a speech at a college up there. And there happened to be a batch of marijuana that was laced with fentanyl. And the day before I got there a day too late to give the kids the warning. 5 kids had died from that batch of. It was all of it.
That's just.
And they had overdosing.
Oh my God. That's just awful.
It's horrible.
So that's a lot of what you do then, is you go around and you talk in schools and to parents.
Well, I go around, and I also have, I have Michael DeLeon, who you know.
Yes.
Have him full time. He has a Victoria's Voice band. We've got it all wrapped with our website on it, which is victoriasvoice.com.
Okay.
And we hire him to go to several schools a day where he talks to the parents. And I go on some of them with him, but he does this as a full-time job. I also have 7 children, and I'm shooting another TV show right now. And but we always talk about voice on my TV show because it's a reality show. Yep. So getting the word out there.
And tell us, Jackie, you found Victoria's diary, and that led you to the book, correct?
Yeah. So we published her diary. In her diary, it was she had sent a text to a friend of hers that if she ever died of an overdose, so she knew she was playing Russian roulette.
Yeah.
So the friend gave me this text after Victoria had passed away, which I wish the friend gave me that warning sign before, but you can't go back. She was respecting her friend's privacy. And Victoria's in that text, it said to please publish her diary, because she wanted to share with other teenagers that they're not alone with being bullied, with being depressed, with having anxiety from school. And her message is to not turn to drugs, to self-medicate, because in the end, look, she died, she was in the hands of a drug dealer on the street, not with like a therapist or a support group. And there's so many options to go to. And I really feel the best way for teenagers, or especially starts in middle school, is to prevent drugs, is to just scare them and tell them the reality of it, and don't do it in the first place.
Exactly. And that's what Michael does. Because Michael's like, he's been in prison twice. He's like, don't do what I did. You don't have to go that road. You don't have to do that. I would recommend to anybody listening that you should get a hold of the book, which is called Victoria's Voice. And you need to read it, because if you have a child, you may not be able to read their diary, but there may be some similarities in what they write in their diary and what they're going through and what Victoria went through. And if you know that, you could enter into dialogue with your child. That's what it seems like to me.
And I also have, and that's on Amazon, by the way, with
Okay.
the on Amazon. Um, and I also I made my own, like with my cell phone, like a documentary during my daughter's starting my daughter's funeral, um, throughout the struggles that me and Daddy have, and showing. It's called The Princess of Versailles, so it shows like our struggles of the aftermath of losing a child to drugs. And I think it's a good movie. It's on YouTube. It's free, and it's my YouTube channel is The Real Queen of Versailles, and it's called The Princess of Versailles. It's good for the parents to watch with their children,
Yes.
because with the children when they're doing drugs, I'm hoping that when they see this video and how all the pain and suffering that the family who survived, they have to live the rest of their life in pain.
Yeah.
And I want the children or the kids that are doing the drugs to realize how selfish they are, to not even consider the pain of all their family and friends. We have a lot on this video. We have testimonials from Victoria's friends, and I really hope that this can deter and educate some teenagers or anyone that's addicted, even if it's like a cousin or a best friend. I mean, this pertains not just to, this is like, it covers all age groups,
Yep.
so.
Yep. Well, that's huge. So your channel again, say your YouTube channel again.
My YouTube channel is The Real Queen of Versailles.
Okay.
And Versailles is the French way, because I'm building Versailles in America. It's VRSAILLES.
Yes.
Some people know how to spell it the French way.
I know how to spell it, but and then the video is The Princess of Versailles, and
Right.
I think that's a great recommendation for parents to watch that video and watch it with their kids. And the book for everyone listening is, and if you watch this video, I will put up a picture of the cover of the book. The book is Victoria's Voice, and Jackie and David, they published Victoria's diary exactly the way she wrote it, with her pictures and her notes. And I think it's something that you might want to consider reading if you have a child that's doing drugs or you suspect they might, or even if you're just worried about your kids. I mean, it's just, Jackie, we've said this over and over again on the podcast. When we started, I had the idea addicts are those, homeless people living under the bridge. The guy, it's not true. It's the kids like Victoria who have everything in the world she could ever want. And it's the boy down the street. It's the kids raiding the medicine cabinets. It applies to everybody.
Right. So, and there's people with such addiction that now I know, at least in Florida here, they're like pretending to shop for homes. Like these ones are like middle age, like 25 to like 45 addicted people. They're going to look at homes as if they were going to be a potential buyer. And when they're touring the home, their intention is to go and raid the people's medicine cabinets.
Wow.
So that's
no
another
idea.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah. It's the extent that they go through,
Yeah. Jackie, I want to personally thank you for everything that you and your husband are doing. You have suffered. I can't go there with the loss, but instead of just giving in and not telling anybody about it, you guys have decided to share the whole subject and educate kids. And I'm in awe of what you guys are doing. I really am.
And we're going to keep doing more. I mean, this is all just the beginning, and, teaming up with people like you and who care and stuff. I mean, the awareness is growing exponentially, and it's in a way, we're getting a really nice outreach.
I can't thank you enough. And I can't thank you for taking the time to talk to us, because I know that you've got to be a super busy lady. You said you had 7 other kids, right?
I have 7 other kids.
I'm already overwhelmed. Okay.
And a husband like having 10 kids.
Yeah, I understand. Jackie, thank you so much. And, if there's anything we can do here at the podcast to support what you guys do, just keep us in mind.
Thank you so much, and God bless.
God bless you. Thank you for listening today. We'll have another interview again next week. We are right in the midst of the holidays, so if you have a loved one who needs to get into treatment, or if you yourself need to get into treatment, please do it now. Please don't wait. Have the gift of sobriety for the new year.